Hello everybody. Thank you so much for taking time to view this video in advance of our church meeting. I just want to say a few things just to sort of set our hearts ready for the discussion that we look forward to on Tuesday the 31st of May coming up. There's just a few slides here, just 4 slides that I'm going to go through, and we'll go through them one by one. First of all, I wanted to show you the summary income and expenditure for the first 3 months of this year and compare that to last year. Now, as you'll know, that the situation over January to March in 2022 is entirely different financially to where we were in 2021. We have 2 pastors on the go, and we're all back at church now, which has been a great blessing to all of us. Our expenditure, as you can see, has gone up. So last year we were reporting just over £20,000, and we're now up to £36,000 that we've spent over the first quarter of 2022. And also, you can see our income figure. So our total income has actually gone up to just over £45,000. Now that's a whopping great 11% increase in what we were from last year. So I just want to say thank you very much to all of you who have responded to previous requests around that, and so we're very grateful for that income that's been coming in. From that, you'll be aware that 25% of our income goes straight to home and overseas mission. So of that proportion, we've got around £11,000. It's not exactly, because there's some adjustments in there, but you can see that the home and overseas giving is substantially more than what it was from last year, but our total available income, which is basically the remainder of the income that's left to fund all the activities of the fellowship, and that's at £34,000, and the equivalent figure for last year is just over £30,000. But the big change this year is that despite the increase in giving, we're still in deficit month on month, and at the moment the deficit, as at the end of March anyway, was sitting at £1,884, whereas the equivalent time last year we were at a surplus of just over £10,000. So quite a big change in our finances. What I wanted to do this time was to, rather than giving you lots of figures showing the expenditure in different categories, which went out with the church notices last week, what I've decided to do, just as an experiment this time round, and I'd welcome your feedback on, is to show moving annual average figures for income and expenditure. Moving annual averages is quite commonly used by financial people in different industries and charities and so on. But basically what this does is it adds up all the income over the previous 12 months and divides it by 12, so that we see an average figure for each month. So looking at the figures that I'm showing here, the top row of figures shows you what the situation was through 2021. So you can see that as at the end of December, our moving annual average of income was just over £10,000, and our expenditure was just over £11,000. Now obviously at the early part of 2021 we weren't spending a great deal of money, hence the surplus that I showed in the previous slide. But as the year moved on, we started spending more, so it was inevitable that these figures were going to go up. So you can see that as you go through from the same situation from the end of January, when we took from February last year through to December, and then added it on to January for this year, both income and expenditure have increased, and successively over the coming months, over the following months rather, until the most recent, which is at the end of April, the end of last month. Our income has been steadily increasing, but also our expenditure has been increasing even more so. And you can see the figures at the bottom, that's the last available. We have £10,500 of income, but that's set against almost £13,000 worth of expenditure averaged over the last year. And we expect that to continue for a little bit more yet as we start to get into a full year of the regular setup with the 2 pastors in the fellowship. Basically what I wanted to share also was just one of the sort of main figures to compare where we were last year to this year, and that's what we have available to spend in the general fund. Now, if you remember, about this time last year, I shared about the reserve and the need to increase the reserve in advance of Eda commencing employment with us. So we agreed to put that up to £45,000 last July. When we look at the bank balances and we subtract the reserve fund, this year we're now left with £77,500, whereas the figure I was quoting to you last year, albeit with a lower reserve figure, we were sitting at £122,000. So our funds have depleted quite significantly over that time because we're obviously spending a lot more money. And the kind of rate that we're spending it each month at the moment is around about £2,000 to £3,000. As I say, we're very grateful to the income increasing, which is slowing down that reduction rate. But we do need to look towards stabilising this situation before long. Obviously, we're very grateful to God for the resources that we have and the fact that we're able to continue like this for this time. But we do need to work towards trying to close that gap, because we've got great plans to go and do further things and to expend further monies doing lots of other things that we talk about in other parts of the meeting. But over the coming months, we do need to look at see how we can improve our financial position in order that we can develop all the ministries that we believe God is leading us towards. Particularly the funding of a youth worker, which we've talked about before as being a 3-year plan that ends this year, and obviously we've got plans to or an intent to continue that, and